Come on, dance with me, baby. Dance with me. Come on, dance with me, baby. Dance with me. Come on, dance with me, baby. Dance with me. Come on, dance with me, baby. I want you, and you want me. So I know we get together after the dance. When I first saw you, man, you were looking good. So trained, oh, looking for you. I saw you there. You were spinning, dancing everywhere. I thought to myself, she was so fine, the way she moved. She was something what she did to me. Dance with me, come on, dance, pretty baby. Dance with me, oh yes. Dance with me, come on, dance, pretty baby. Dance with me, come on, dance. I want you, and you want me. So get together after the day. Woo! While we dance, each record, baby, you were so fine. The way you moved next to me, your eyes told me one thing. Oh, baby, the touch of your eyes, oh, felt vibrations, baby. We started walking, we started talking. You needed time to make up your mind. Oh, yeah. Nobody else will, that's how I feel. Please take it, what you gonna do? I want you, hey, want me. So why don't they get together after the day? Alright. Oh! Come on, baby.
Juror family. Let's just be black first. At the top of your agenda is to be royal. Let this. Yup, let's be one. When you see one, yup, let's be one. You're a king when you see one, yup, let's be one. You're a queen when you see one, yup, let's be one. You're a king when you see one. Yes, we're the royal family. Nope, we don't give a damn. Yup, you're a peasant. You're scram. Yup, we don't hold. We bake in royalty mode. 6,000 years is over. Next episode, yup, let's be one. You're a queen when you see one, yup, let's be one. You're a king when you see one, yup, let's be one. You're a queen when you see one, yup, let's be one. Yup, let's be one. Yup, let's be one. Royal family, baddest motherfuckers under the sun. They just let me over and try what we won. Black and two, wrong, two, big release, sick. We talk that shit slick. Cold, we stick. Every time we took it on our own damn house. They come control up, come run around our shit like a goddamn mouse. Every time we took it on our own damn house. They come control up, come run around our shit like a goddamn mouse. This is our family, cause we do the shit they can't. The royal family and send me on the royal ranch. 30 bites, 10 outside like that damn red ant. Yup, let's be one. You're a queen when you see one, yup, let's be one. You're a king when you see one, yup, let's be one. You're a queen when you see one, yup, let's be one. You're a king when you see one. Start this oppressing us bad. Not a lesson. That's how we got royal folks behave and make business. Start this oppressing us bad. Not a lesson. That's how we got royal folks behave and make business. King, raise it by so slumber. The most high and call go for your number. Queen, raise it by so slumber. The most high and call go for your number. Yup, let's be one. Yup, let's be one. Yup, let's be one. You're a queen when you see one. Yup, let's be one. Yup, let's be one. Yup, let's be one. You're a king when you see one.
How's the royal family?
Peace, blessings, and love, family.
How's the royal family?
Blessings and love, family.
How's the royal family?
Blessings and love, family.
How's the royal family?
Blessings and love, family. That go to show you the devil do what he wanna do. Ain't no Christianity.
An insult to injury my royal family is this country tries to play like and act like that does not exist at all. Does not exist at all.
Taking little boys' freedom away, manhood away, and ain't nobody going to jail.
The righteous of passage for a black male in America is to be racially profiled by the police. We all know it. We all know it.
That go to show you that's what they did. They want you to believe it. Something that ain't never existed and get mad at you.
And dealing with that, it affects you. It affects you mentally. It affects you physically. And that is the ultimate goal of the enemy, to fuck with our psyche.
Christianity supposed to show love. According to their Bible, Jesus said, love ye one another. But how is that love? You're oppressing somebody.
Now, it just happened that this summer we have seen the hyperbia, how in this country, damn near the entire Caucasoid race profiles us. It ain't just the unquote police.
That's right. That is not of our culture. It is not of our nature to do evil things like that. We got a lot of brothers and sisters doing evil things like that because we are new people. We are not the same people our ancestors were before European invasion.
They'll call the police on us for the most frivolous thing. And many of us have been putting up videos as well as myself. And the thing that I have learned from this is that the police wants this to continue to go on. And because their attitude is you can never be sure.
The church committed genocide on their own people, not only the melanated families, started with their own people, enforcing Christianity in a cruel, in a vile way of genocide, murder, terror, and fear.
They continue to subjugate us and to fuck with our psyche. Now, the entire royal family, which has been going on all along, but see, Big Brother is watching you. And what the enemy did not factor in, that they would be watched too.
Animals do things like that. Have no pity, have no compassion, have no love. And that's the way they think. These so-called Christians, these so-called Roman Catholics.
This is something they cannot and will not ever get on cold, because it is part of their nature to fuck with us. Every animal has an animal, and we have one too. And we need to study nature more and what the animal kingdom do to protect themselves from their natural enemies.
And the Vatican is the house of Satan. The Vatican is the house of Satan. All these Baptist churches is the house of Satan. That's right, Baptist. All that we do, we have been conditioned to do. This lifestyle, this matrix that we are living in, this make-believe world.
All right, my royal family. How's the royal family? I pray that everyone is doing well. Well, my royal family, I was going to put these 3 videos out, but I had so much to say. I said I just have to do a hangout because it's like real intense. I'm all about that intensity. And let me get back over here. Okay, and I got some intensity on the panel. My royal son may get on the link. I don't know what Delbert is doing. But anybody that's new to the True Royal family hangout, even though we call it True Royal, y'all coined me True Royal. I appreciate that. I start with prayer. I close with prayer, not trying to proselytize anything, but I believe in the Creator and I believe in the Messiah. Oh, yes. And they're very crystal black. Very crystal black. Oh, yes, they is. So anyway, and also, I speak of us being empathic. We all empathic. We may not know it because we're trying to survive in this system. But and sometimes I will share with the royal family what the Creator is telling me, what resonates in my soul. So lately, the Creator been telling me that we need to start acknowledging our mother. Yes, our mother. So I'm just putting that out there. So anyway, I'm going to pray the prayer that you'll often hear me pray. The prayer that our Creator actually put on my heart 2 years ago after my spiritual experience. So anyway, Father God, I pray for the many oceans, lakes, rivers, and streams. I pray for every blade of grass, every grain of sand, every flower, every tree. I pray for the sick and I pray for the suffering. And I pray that many, many souls will go to you and you only. Wow, that's deep. Yes, you and you only. I pray that we continue to stay God focused in this war. In your name, I pray, amen. So anyway, there's been some deep things going on amongst the deep distractions. And I'm fighting hard because I want the royal family to see that we have won this war. If you put on your spiritual eyes, listen with your spiritual ears, I've seen it, I feel it, and I've been saying it. So I'm going to point out some things. And I'm always say the best for last, but I'm going to put some on your heart now. The Creator told me a few short months ago, from here on out, the white woman will be the first to get his wrath. As I speak, she is getting his wrath. And that does not exclude the white man, because he was complicit in upholding her shit. And I'm glad that KD is here, because the very best, we're going to point out to the royal family that there is a war that some of us have missed, and it is sweet. When I say sweet, real sweet. I ain't gonna sell you no fairy tales over here. I'm gonna keep it core. And when I point out the very thing that's happening before our eyes, y'all gonna see exactly what's going down. In fact, the first video that I'm gonna show is gonna also enlighten you deeper. This barren bitch who has no value in her community will be sacrificed. How you doing, KD?
Doing great. Well, you.
Breaking up just a bit, but you know how that is. We're gonna work on that.
All right, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. So what I'm gonna do first is I don't know if he's in here or not, but our king, Craig J, send me a video. And I'm gonna play that video first. It's a little over 2 minutes. Okay, so let's get into this. Now, y'all know I have been covering Botham Jeans outright slaughtering. We know that there's a lot of bullshit going on in Dallas. And the DA, which we all know is Faith Johnson, and she and the chief of police act like they can't do no work. And it's amazing, but it shouldn't be amazing, that when it comes to us, convenient amnesia kick in and nobody don't know how to do nothing. Don't know how to do nothing when it comes to us, and one of them is involved, which is our true enemies, because they always trying to cover for them. In these positions that these so-called black folks have, they are upholding white supremacy. And I don't like the bitch's tone. Now, I have been pointing out to the family, and others too as well, that they in the middle of an election season. And Amber Geiger has pissed off a number of people. And I'm going to point that out too, because she's affecting shit. And I'm still going to go out on a limb and say they're going to sacrifice her. And when I got this video from Craig J, I thank you, my king. You may not hear it now, but this helped further possibly show me, because I ain't gonna go get overzealous, that there's some changes that has happened in the universe, in the spirit world already. Think about what I first mentioned about the message that was given to me. But I don't want the royal family to lose sight before I play this video that this stuff that they are doing, Esau, this is all about in their brains, because they don't trip off of the divine hand, but the divine hand is at work. In their brains, they are making business decisions, and they don't like how shit look. They don't do things in our behalf. I have been told that there will be some that will help us in this war, but I can't look for that. I have to rely on what I can rely on. I can't go out and try to find out which ones is good and bad. So I look at them all the same. They look at us all the same. I look at them all the same. So anyway, let's just get into it.
A city councilman says the district attorney's handling of the Botham Jean shooting death is making the city look bad. Philip Kingston is demanding the release of 911 and police radio calls, as well as any evidence showing that investigators are not trying to protect former Dallas officer Amber Geiger. CBS 11's JD Miles joins us live from downtown Dallas tonight with the latest. JD?
Gilma, community activists have been complaining about the way the Botham Jean shooting investigation is being handled. Now, Dallas City Councilman Philip Kingston is publicly accusing District Attorney Faith Johnson of, quote, screwing this up during an interview here today. It's been almost a month since Amber Geiger walked down this hallway where she lived and into the apartment of Botham Jean. What happened behind the door on the night of September 6th is open to debate. Today, there's a memorial that remains outside his vacant apartment. There's nothing outside the apartment Geiger has since moved out of, one floor below.
The story would have been over the Saturday after Mr. John died. It simply would have been the story of a tragedy. Now it's the story of how is the city of Dallas and the Faith Johnson's office screwing this up.
Dallas City Councilman Philip Kingston today accused Dallas County District Attorney Faith Johnson and DPD Chief Renee Hall of withholding 911 and police radio calls, as well as any body cam videos that would better explain why the young officer would shoot and kill the 26-year-old accountant in his own home.
Because they've all said, we want transparency, we want transparency, we want transparency. But their actions are 180 degrees from that.
The Dallas County DA's office responded to Kingston's sharp comments with a statement, arguing that releasing such evidence would risk a judge moving any future trial, saying that this potential case should be tried in Dallas County, not some contiguous county where the interests of justice are not as compelling. Kingston says it makes the city look bad that nearly a month after the shooting, so little information is being released.
There's been such a push in this case to treat Officer Geiger with kid gloves and give her special treatment.
And just within the last few minutes, we've heard some new search warrant has been issued seeking cell phone records from Amber Geiger from the week of the shooting. It'll be up to the Office of the Attorney General, Ken Paxton, to determine whether or not they will compel the city to release the 911 and police radio calls. Sources who have heard them tell me that on those calls, Amber Geiger can be heard apologizing to Botham Jean and saying that she was confused about where she was. Live in Dallas, JD Miles, CBS 11 News.
Okay. Y'all heard that shit clearly. Now, you got Esau up here saying that Faith Johnson is making the city look bad. I wasn't surprised at all. The only thing that I was surprised about is how quickly they're saying it. I've been saying earlier on my main channel that they got to make some business decisions. And how much are these individual cities are willing to invest in white supremacy? So let me give y'all a quick synopsis of another story to put y'all in a frame of mind of how I've been looking into this. Started back with Freddie Gray back in Baltimore. And I was listening to a YouTuber that was talking about how the police union literally went totally broke in covering up for outright slaughtering Freddie Gray. So I think it was 6 police officers. I can't remember the number. So the whole time they was waiting to go to court, they was getting their full pay. Then all those police officers had their own individual lawyers. That's a lot of money. So they start appealing to families, police, they're family. So they were doing the car washes and all the little fundraisers to make sure that they had what they needed, because they going to uphold this white supremacy. Well, as time went on, they sent letters to all of the union members and said that they were doubling their union dues from here on out. So say, for instance, that your union dues for the last 20 years been $50. And all of a sudden, you got to pay $100 now because one of your union members didn't fucked up. Well, few of your union members have. And you one of the people, you ain't in the politics at the job. You just do your job and go about your business. You would feel some kind of way. And you're tired of getting these letters because they want you to, be a part of these fundraisers. Okay, so then on top of that, they asked the lawyers to take the basic fee. And I said, I kept that in my frontal lobe. I said, they starting to break them because the white man don't mind paying or investing, put it that way, in white supremacy. Then on top of that, they got to pay the family. So I was saying, when I was reading these articles, I said, wow, how much longer are they going to continue to keep investing in this? Because they have a fund put away just for this shit. Millions of dollars. Because they know they own is going to keep killing us. But how much longer? Okay, let's go back to the present day. So I had showed a video, and in fact, I'm going to show it again. Show you how deep this shit go. I showed y'all a video recently. How Amber Geiger then really pissed off some folks. So it was a lot of deep things going. They have the election. And then on top of that, it came down that they budget came in. So the fire department and the police department they union reps going to come and speak on the union members' behalf that they need this. They need a raise. Listen to this.
A Dallas City Councilman described police, quote, gunning down residents in his opposition to pay raises for public safety employees.
Councilman Lee Kleinman was referring to the Botham Jean shooting when he argued that across the board raises would reward the kind of police behavior citizens have been protesting. The Dallas Police Association is furious about the remarks. Fox 4's Lori Brown live at City Hall with the story. Lori.
Brendan, the Dallas Police Association president, said that he's concerned that the comments from City Councilman Lee Kleinman could incite violence against police. Here's what the councilman had to say today before his colleagues approved pay raises for police and fire.
In a time right now when our community is really hurting, when our community is in the streets asking for justice, it just does not seem appropriate to reward that kind of behavior with an increase across the board. If you look at the number of arrests that have gone on in our police and department this year, and then of course this horrible and horrifying incident that we had down in the Cedars, how can we stand with our citizens while kowtowing to the bullies in these unions.
Kleiman did say he supports bringing starting pay for police and fire from $51,000 to $60,000 to compete with surrounding cities. But both he and Mayor Mike Rawlings voted against across-the-board raises for police. Kleiman went on to criticize the Dallas Police Association for providing legal representation for Officer Amber Geiger.
We have out-of-control associations and unions that close ranks and protect officers. They're really doing more than a disservice to this community, but gunning down members of our community. And we're going to give them a raise. Colleagues, it's shameful. It's shameful. We are now at yet another crossroads in this community between who do we support as a council? Our community, our citizens, our taxpayers, our residents, or just the union bosses who take advantage of a potential mayoral election and council election coming up, take advantage of this council in almost unfathomable ways.
To say anything that would incite violence, that would incite any type of negative reaction towards your public safety and be honest, their public safety and their family members, I think is below. I mean, I don't think it could get any worse. And the fact that the mayor did not in any way, shape, or form tell him that's enough or tell them that isn't, useful or isn't reasonable in this officer, I think he failed it too. I think the police and the fire deserve better than that.
Mike Mata said it is not the role of the Dallas Police Association to determine if Officer Geiger is guilty or not guilty, but it is the association's role to provide legal coverage for her because the city does not provide funding for the defense of officers. Today's pay raises were part of the city's approval of the $1.3 billion budget.
All right. So thank you, Craig J. I'm glad you're in here. I played the first video that you had sent me on my email. So that didn't make it no better that she did what she did. Okay, I played the first video that they're saying that Faith Johnson, because she withholding shit and lying at the same time. See, people don't even realize. See, I looked her ass up. She's a judge too. So she could have been the one who signed all that paperwork for them to do the search warrants. And she has the power to withhold whatever she wants to withhold, and she wants to blame it on the Texas Rangers. You know, they keep wanting to pass the buck. No, they have authority to do what they need to do. And all these fucking investigations and all of that is bullshit. You don't need investigation after investigation. See, that right there lets you know that when they say transparency, nobody trusts nobody. And they throwing these words out like we gonna bite on this shit. Okay, now let's get back to that money. Well, the police unions are corrupt. They forget where the fuck they money come from. It comes from the citizens. They forget who they work for. And then they show this old musclehead. He looked like a bully, act like a bully. And they will not, because they operate on their high IQ, show that they are working for the citizens. You're supposed to be protecting the citizens, but we know the base of how police force started. Slave catchers. We know this. So when they come in, they don't fully realize that they working for us. Okay, now other police unions and throughout this America, this shithole we living in is looking at it too. But again, they don't give a damn about us. They'll never give a damn about us, and I ain't gonna ever lose sight of that. So when they making these business decisions and some of these sacrifices that we slowly see them making, it's all about to make them look good. But the divine hand is still working. I still keep saying they're going to sacrifice this bitch because she done pissed off some people. You done pissed off you made sure I didn't get my pay. Now that's how, because the overall police union is just full of white men. We already know this. So he got to find somebody to blame. Somebody to blame. Now, it ain't going to happen overnight. But Becky has no value. She a barren bitch. And your dumb ass been complicit in upholding her shit. How many millions of black men, how many millions of black families been affected by her greasy ass ways? I have already put in the universe to solidify this. She will have sleepless nights. You will never rest. What you have did to the chosen ones, my royal family, I'm not blowing smoke up your ass. Put it out in the universe, whatever you want to put out in the universe. We upholding certain things because they have put fear in us. I understand fear. I've been affected too by the system. And it's taken me to learn more about self just getting right here on YouTube. There's some of these fears that I have had, I have been able to release because of you. Just listening to my people. Just listening to my people. Before I go on to the next video, you have anything you want to add on the panel?
1 Timothy 6:10 makes it very clear of their intentions on what they're really up to, because it speaks on, for the love of money is the root of all evil. Who is the evil ones? We got to look to Psalms 58:3, where the enemy is evil in nature from birth. We have to connect the two. The enemy, we all know as the Edomites, have been evil from the start. And what is their God? Their God is money. So what are they doing in line with their nature? They're going to do everything possible to love that money.
Yep. Thank you for that, KD. Before I go on to the next video and the next subject, but it ain't going to veer too far off, I want to make sure I don't miss anybody in the comment box. And again, thank you, Craig J. You kept me on my path, my king. Let's see here. Just checking. Yes, Dark Void, these damn police unions are very corrupt. And how they get down is just straight nasty. And yes, I did hear Brother Rob about that pig that got hired that killed our royal son Tamir Rice. How you doing, Queen Maxine? That's a sin and a shame. And then that other chick killed that brother when he was just shot him up. They got her somewhere training cops how to I guess emotionally deal with killing us, you know. And see, this is where that dude, now they said he was unfit at the first. Now he's been hired 3 times, and the first time he was hired, they said his ass was unfit. So they could and see, they be making these business decisions off of our money. See, not all of them getting it, but eventually they will get it. They will get it. But again, they ain't doing it for us. So let's continue on. Go ahead, KD. So what you gotta say?
Look at the interview of that New York City cop that was once on the Philly Advice show. That New York City cop pretty much spilled the beans about how the enemy really makes their business decisions. We all know that the killing of us represent a bigger bag of the enemy. The more of us they kill, the bigger bag they receive behind the scenes. You times 3 And the first part of 1 Timothy 6:10, that is their nature.
Bam. All right, KD. KD on it. He on it. So now we're gonna go over here to this next video. First and foremost, we all know that Van Dyke got a guilty for murdering our royal son, Laquan McDonald. And I was surprised because I love hearing what the jurors have to say. So first I'll ask y'all, this is a 24-minute video. Do y'all want to hear this video? Because some people don't like long ass videos and stuff. Do y'all want to hear what the jurors had to say? Or did any of y'all, I'm just taking a vote. Did any of y'all get an opportunity to hear what the jurors had to say after the verdict and everything? So I'm asking the royal family, what do y'all want? Because this video is a little bit long. Oh, thank you for those pictures too, Queen Maxine, of your family. That's pretty nice. All right, so we got one. Okay, let's play it.
We're talking with the jurors of the Van Dyke trial who have done and issued their verdict, and we're going to be referring to you by name. So if you could just give us your name before you speak. Number, thank you. Your number. We're not using your name. Who would like to share first just how it was, your number, and just how you feel about this verdict?
My number is 245. I feel that we gave a good verdict. We looked at all the evidence and we ruled on it accordingly.
52. I thought everything went the way it should have went. Never thought they would have a first degree. I didn't think they could get him a first degree.
Number 243. Deliberations were, I think, it couldn't have been better because we listened to each other, respected what each other said. When somebody was questioning something, we let them ask their questions and we worked with it until we all came to a consensus. And when that consensus was made, we all realized we'd made the right decision.
Started with the murder first, and we had a little problem at first, but we talked about it. Wanted to decide whether we're going to go first degree or second. So, but we had to break everything down and we talked among each other until we came to the conclusion.
Second degree was a mitigating factor that in Mr. Van Dyke's mind, he was doing the right thing. He was experiencing an extreme threat. In his mind, that's how he's experiencing it, and he felt like he needed to protect himself.
Second degree and all of the aggravated battery counts, but not official misconduct. Why?
Because we felt he had the right to carry the weapon, and he had the right to use his weapon because he's a police officer. So he had that right. So we had to say not guilty on that if we looked at the case.
Thank you. What did you explain?
I'm remembering the sequence, and I'm a little unclear about my memories. I would need to be refreshed, as they say in court. So I'll pass on that.
First degree and second degree murder charges first. How quickly did you arrive at that? Was that something you had kind of looked at last night?
We went over it last night, but we made no decisions last night. Everybody talked about it. We couldn't come to a decision on last night, so we said we'll start fresh tomorrow. Yes.
It seems the way you're talking that the question was to convict on first or second. Was an acquittal ever on the table? Did anyone come in the room saying, I don't think he's guilty at all?
No.
Really? That was never an option in any of the jurors' minds?
No.
Sir, you mentioned that you believe that he thought the threat was real. Did that play into possibly acquitting him of the charges?
No, we realized that as a police officer, a trained officer who'd been doing his work for about 20 years, that he should have realized what the situation was, and instead of escalating the situation, should have at least looked at other options. For example, just taking the time to back away, or just the patience to wait for other vehicles to get there, a vehicle with a taser specifically. That instead of escalating the situation, he should have de-escalated.
Was there evidence that helped you with that? A lot of videos showing.
Well, we kept watching the video where it showed that he kept making the steps forward.
Was that the animation or the dash cam video?
The dash cam. We watched that more than once, more than 3 times really. And the dash cam.
What was the most important evidence or witness?
I would say Dr. Arupamar, was that her name? The coroner, the medical examiner. Her.
And why?
Because she broke down every bullet, what it did, how it went in, which way it went in, how it came out. Or did it come out?
There was another pathologist that the defense put on the stand. What did you make of her?
Really didn't care for her. I thought she was kind of cocky. She didn't listen. She wanted to overtalk people.
And just the defense's argument in general, that he made the best decision that he could in a difficult time. How are your feelings about the defense's arguments?
I don't feel it was the best decision. He was a trained professional of 20 years. To me, he should have thought more carefully about the situation and the time in which that he got out of the car before he started shooting.
Or did you, sorry, it just looked like you had something to say there.
No, basically the same thing. It's like he needed to contain the situation, not escalate it.
He took the stand himself. What did you make of his? Okay, go ahead.
I felt he shouldn't have. He messed up. His testimony was incredible to me. I felt like he was trying to remember stuff that he said that maybe wasn't true. And he wanted to make sure he didn't trip himself up. So I didn't really feel his testimony was credible.
Same. 252. Right, same. I didn't think he should have testified because he kept going from one question and he would answer this question, then he would go back and then he act like he didn't remember. He only remembered what he wanted to.
It felt like it was a rehearsed situation. And I didn't quite trust that.
And did, I know you were sequestered and not supposed to watch anything, but did any of you realize this was such a high profile case, or how did you feel about being on such a high profile case?
I had no idea that it was like this. I knew that we wasn't supposed to talk to anyone, but to be escorted out and police patrol. It was like,
well, we appreciate the safety we had with the sheriffs. They did a good job protecting us every day.
A little more than I expected.
But what did you think about being on this?
It was interesting. It'll be something that I'll talk about for a while.
Every morning I got on the bus and on the train and I saw hundreds and hundreds of my fellow Chicagoans and I thought, how did I get on this jury? Right. There are all these people and I'm doing this work and nobody knows it. It felt really amazing.
It felt like a burden or a privilege?
A privilege. I almost threw my jury paper in the garbage though, because I wasn't coming.
What do you want to say about jury service?
It's the United States is really the only country that uses a jury system. So I felt privileged after I got here.
And there was concern by some outside you probably didn't know because you weren't watching any news, but there was some concern about the jury makeup, the lack of diversity of the jurors. What would any of you say about jury service and whether you felt race or ethnicity played into this case?
I don't feel that it did until the end. The statement that was made at the end was wrong to me. The Boy Scout statement. I just didn't feel that was appropriate.
This was Dan Herbert, the defense attorney.
I felt that was really inappropriate. We're past all of that. We didn't come here because of race, or we came here for right and wrong. That's all.
You guys consider the impact of what your decision was going to be outside the courtroom? Action among the public for an acquittal or a guilty verdict?
I do because I work in City Hall. So I just think about when I go back to work, how many people is going to approach me. Because in the newspaper, they told where I work. So everybody already at my job knew that it was me. So.
Do you consider, that there might be a big reaction to whatever verdict? I did not consider that I was aware of it, but it's like we're here to do this job with what the law is and what the prosecution and defense says. And I knew that was my job, and that's where I kept my focus.
What was the tone in the discussions when you actually worked with them?
We have spent 3 weeks with each other. We respect each other. We know each other by first name, not number. We're actually a very diverse group, economically, socially. We're from all parts of Cook County, and we've learned to appreciate each other. And so we cooperated the entire time.
And you said you were just focused on this. Was there any thoughts beyond this about whether this could have an impact on other cases, relations between communities of color and police? Did those thoughts either go through your heads as individuals or in the discussions?
I wasn't in the discussions. I'm an alternate.
But your thoughts about how this case could affect relations moving forward, did that come into your mind?
Not really.
This is about justice.
Thank you so much.
This is about justice, and in this case, it was about this instance and whether or not justice would be done here, and whether or not we would relate with each other in a conciliatory, justice-like way. I believe we did both.
Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts. And we're going to go to the audio portion only for the jurors who are willing to talk with us. I'm going to move over here. So we're in bars, but
I'm sorry.
so we're in audio only, and we're just transferring over and explaining to the judge that this is audio only and that the jurors who didn't want to be on camera are not on camera, but they are patiently waiting to share their thoughts. So may we proceed?
Yes, please. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
And again, just a reminder before you answer a question, if you would say your jury number since it's just the audio. First of all, what made the strongest impression on you based on testimony and evidence that you saw? What was it that helped you make your decision?
Juror number 253, I think the turning point for me was when he said, "Oh my God, we're going to have to shoot this guy." And he said Then why aren't they shooting him if he's attacking them? I think there was a pause. I think we all wrote down notes on that one, and I think that was kind of a changing point.
A lot of you are nodding in agreement. Anyone else want to elaborate on those statements that he, I guess, made to his partner that night?
Anything else for folks that really stuck out for you, and then Coach, you make
Juror 248. We watched the video many, many, many times, and it was stepping forward instead of retreating. I think we all pretty much thought that he could have avoided it if he had retreated and by stepping forward. It was a bit.
So you watched the video a lot back in the deliberation room, or you watched it during?
In the deliberation room, we did.
How are you feeling about the verdict? We obviously started with them, but we want to hear about how you're feeling about this verdict and whether it was something that was fairly easy to come to, or it sounds like there was some discussion. How are you feeling?
248. We first took a straw poll. The way we approached it was we did a blind vote just to see where we all were. And the first vote was 7 guilty, 3 undecided. We did guilty, not guilty, and undecided. So it was 7 guilty, 7 guilty, 2 not guilty, and 3 undecided. So we had a baseline for discussion, and then we moved on from there.
So there were a couple of people at first who were thought leaning toward acquittal.
In our first,
vote,
blind vote.
What do those folks say why they are up here now, and say what?
All right, Andy, you gotta interview one person at a time, and there's another thing about what other people thought, something like that. Just continue your investigation.
We're getting some instruction from the judge about the types of questions we should ask the jurors. So maybe we can get back to what. Maybe we can get back to just during the trial, some of the evidence. You mentioned the video. We asked the other jurors, what did you think of Jason Van Dyke, hearing from him in his own words?
Number 250. He seemed scared on the stand. Like you realized, he was taking his future in his own hands, and just seemed like, I really need to make this impact to do it. But at the same time, he was fumbling around trying to remember things exactly how they were, and his memories and the facts and other evidence didn't line up.
249. I think going back to his testimony, it was rehearsed. He had a lot of I don't know, not only from what the questions he was being asked at that time, but he couldn't recollect the day right after when they interviewed him. So I just couldn't see how you could not remember that.
Yeah, and 253, sorry. I think what he said in his initial report right after the shooting incident didn't line up with the video, so it seemed like he was just trying to cover himself up after that when he gave his report. And then the truth came out when the video was shown.
Juror 241, I agree with what everyone has been saying so far, that it seemed very rehearsed. It seemed kind of like he was finally giving the play after what they've been rehearsing with him for weeks. And personally, even though we're right here, I felt him staring at us, tried to win our sympathy in a way, I guess. And I think we all kind of felt the same way, even with that, like when we're still sitting here, we felt the same way by all looking at each other and writing stuff down at the same time, that we just didn't buy it.
Juror 240, I also felt it was rehearsed. I felt like he took a pause to want to like tear up or cry. I did look down because I'm a mom, and he has a mom, of course, and I was just like feeling a little bad for him, but I did think that it was rehearsed.
I'm very interested to know on what the discussion was like for first degree versus second degree. Why was second degree the decision reached?
We considered the mitigating factor of how he perceived his actions, of the imminent and escalating risk, and why he took that action. But we did decide that taking the action was unreasonable, but we did consider what he thought when he was taking that action.
And that's juror 248.
And why convict on everything except official misconduct? Walk me through the logic there.
It was the knowingly taking that act, and we also thought it was consistent with deciding on the second degree, because he was knowingly using his taking an action that he knowingly knew was not within his official capacity or whatever.
So it goes to his state of mind where he believed he was justified. Am I understanding you correctly?
Right, a little 241, a little of that, but we also kind of considered that what was said before, that he could legally shoot to kill, he could legally use a gun, but he just did it in a wrong way. So we thought, like, legally, yes, he could do this, so it wasn't misconduct.
Anybody feel that this, or understand how big of a case this was? How many people were paying attention to it?
I was very aware.
I think
sorry, just give me your number, make sure we know who's listening.
241, I think, I mean, I take public transportation, and so I think it's weird seeing, like, what was said before, seeing everyone here thinking, how did I get this out of everyone in the city? Having to get out the car into another car on the train because you saw someone reading in the papers, and just, like, it was always on my mind to look around and be observant and just get away from it anywhere. But I think last night too, we realized, like, kind of felt like president in a way of how many cars are following us out. And I think that was a big hit for me, like, this is real.
248. I was very aware of the of this case, both locally and nationally, that it was drawing a lot of attention.